It's finals time in the NRL. It's the time of the year we absolutely love as the best 8 teams left in the competition go head-to-head to prove they should be premiers in season 2021. I'm Zach Bailey. Thank you for joining us on The Game Plan. Lucky enough to be joined by Anthony Seibold once again. Siebes, we've got a final series ahead of us. We all can't wait. What will define the 2021 NRL final series?
Yeah, exciting time of the year, obviously, Zach. But I think the team that's going to win the premiership will still be the best defensive team. I think over the next 4 weeks, you'll see the top couple of teams shine with regards to being resilient enough to defend their try line, but building pressure on opposition teams with their kick chase and their aggressive line speed. So I still think, although we've seen plenty of points scored this year, lots of records broken, I think the best defensive side will win over the next month.
Okay, so it would be very easy for us to stand here and say why the 4 favourites this weekend will win, but I've given you the task of coming up with the argument for the underdogs. Let's kick things off with the Friday night blockbuster between the Melbourne Storm and the Manly Sea Eagles. When Manly won their last premiership back in 2011, it was on the back of 2 brothers, Brett Stewart and Glenn Stewart. They've got 2 more brothers. How crucial are Tom and Jake Trbojevic to Manly's chances this weekend?
Yeah, they're vital for Manly to win the game against the Storm. Obviously, a long-standing rivalry between Manly and Melbourne. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. What a way to start the weekend of finals football. I think the big thing for Manly to get a result against Melbourne, they're going to attack the right-hand side edge of the Melbourne Storm. They did it successfully a couple of weeks ago, and I want to show you some examples. But initially what I want you to have a look at is the 2 brothers combining. So you spoke about Glenn and Brett Stewart. Well, Jake and Tom Trbojevic are at the start and at the finish of most of their attacking shape. So this is in yardage attacking a couple of weeks ago, as I said. There's Jake as the ball player. Tom is out the back of shape. What they're trying to do is get early ball to Brad Parker and to Reuben Garrick to try and take the metres on the right-hand side edge of the Melbourne Storm defence. Now, when they moved down closer to the field, they again attacked that side of the field. Now you can see Jake Trbojevic again was the ball player to Kieran Foran. What you'll see on the edge is some leads inside Remus Smith. So Brad Parker often running inside Remus Smith. And what they're trying to do is get the fullback in, Tom Trbojevic, and also Reuben Garrick on the end of that shape, creating a 2v1 opportunity. So this is where they made all their line breaks last time. I think they'll go there again. I think they can achieve some success there. So again, the trend I've seen, there's Jake as the ball player. There's Tom all the way out the back of shape. You'll see again the trend of Brad Parker leading inside Remus Smith, and Tom Trbojevic nails that one out the back of shape, puts Reuben Garrick in the left-hand side corner for Manly. This time there's no Jake at the start of the shape, but again you'll see Brad Parker taking the inside shoulder there of Remus Smith. They're trying to create 2v1. So George Jennings will be in that wing position, we think, this weekend. But Tom Trbojevic has got great depth at the back of that shape and again puts Reuben Garrick in that corner. So I think that's where Manly will attack. I think they can find some opportunities down that side of the field. And if they're to upset the Melbourne Storm, I think that's where they'll go.
Okay, so Josh Schuster, Kieran Foran, we saw them featuring in those clips. But what about Daly CherryEvans? It's almost since he kicked that field goal in round 5, he returned to form. And again, with the help of Tom, Jake, Kieran and Josh, they've soared through this competition to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, they have. You said his kicking game, well, it was a field goal against the Warriors in round 5 to get them get their season started, rather. But what I think is he can build pressure on the Melbourne Storm by where he puts his kicks. And he's a fantastic kicker of the footy, particularly long kicks out of yardage. So these are 2 examples of 40-20s from throughout the year on early tackles. And he kicks on early tackles out of yardage because the wingers are up. They're not disconnected to the end of the line and they're not protecting their fullback. So this time here against the Warriors at Brookie earlier this year was tackle 2. I think you'll see him kick early out of yardage and put Ryan Papenhuyzen under pressure. They want to try and get Ryan Papenhuyzen one-on-one and be aggressive on their kick chase with regards to lifting him up and trying to run him back. So CherryEvans, great kicking game. I think the 2 brothers in Tom and Jake and also CherryEvans, they're going to be vital to an upset on Friday night.
And no doubt DC will try and expose Melbourne at the back without Josh Adokar. He's a big out for Melbourne. I remember you speaking on the game plan earlier this year about how vocal and how much energy Josh Adokar brings to this Melbourne outfit. How big a loss is he at the back for Melbourne?
Yeah, it's a significant loss. I think his +1, +2 carries out of the backfield. So we talk about CherryEvans putting Papenhuyzen in uncomfortable positions. Addo-Carr's very good at those early carries to start the set and build momentum for the big forwards of the Melbourne Storm. But the thing is that we can't escape the fact of is he's a finisher. He's an elite finisher. The amount of times that he gets the football in broken play and finishes the 4 points for the Storm is incredible over his journey there over the last 3 or 4 seasons. So they'll miss him big time.
All right, on Saturday afternoon, we've got the Roosters against the Titans. The winner progresses, the loser goes home. It's pretty simple. The Titans, they have a great forward pack. The likes of David Fifita, Tino Fasua, Ma'alawi take all the headlines. But what have you made of Jared Wallace's impact this year after a couple of quiet seasons?
Yeah, I think he's been much improved this year. I like Jared as a player. I had him in Queensland Origin side a couple of years ago. He's a real hard worker. The thing I think he'll bring this weekend is an offload. So he offloads the football more than any other player in the Gold Coast Titans. And what they need to do against the Roosters to cause an upset is to break up that structured defence. Craig Fitzgibbon, we know, very much an elite defensive coach. So they don't want offloads. They want 3 men in the tackle. They want a set line. So I think Jared Wallace can create some instability. So this is a couple of examples of the last time they played the Roosters, and Gold Coast Titans started to make some line breaks and create momentum when Jared Wallace offloaded the football. So this is 2 examples. As I said, there's a late offload again to Peachy from Jared Wallace, and Peachy goes through. I think they'll use that same tactic this weekend. Break the structured defence up of the Sydney Roosters by Jared Wallace and Fodawika and other forwards with those offloads. Wallace in particular, that's the key for me.
One player that will no doubt create some instability in the Roosters' defensive line is David Fifita. 17 tries this year. He's played a lot off the bench in recent weeks, but what impact does he need to have against the Roosters this weekend?
Yeah, they've got to give David early football. I spoke to David after the Newcastle Knights played Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago. Talking to him after the game, he said that his ribs have been a little bit sore, and I saw him quoted in the media about that yesterday as well. I think a fully fit David Fifita coming off the bench after 20 minutes, if they can give him some early ball, so whether it's off the back of offloads from Jared Wallace or one of the other Titans forwards, or giving him early ball like we showed earlier in the year on game plan, he's going to be a real threat to create some momentum, particularly close to the line. So here's a couple of examples. First of all, against the Cowboys, early football from Brimson, who won't be there. That'll be Campbell in this situation, but one-on-one with the 2 in defender there in Jake Granville, he's too hard to stop close to the line. This is against an elite South Sydney team. Again, there he is running on the inside shoulder of Benji Marshall. One-on-one close to the line, you don't stop David. So I think early football to that right edge of the Gold Coast Titans is going to put the Roosters' left-hand side edge defence under pressure. This is another example. That's a pet play. It's almost like a tunnel ball through 2 Titans players to get one-on-one with Bradman Best. And they've used that play in particular a number of times this year. So I know Roosters will have prepped that with regards to their preview. But, good luck stopping David if they give him ball close to the line.
Okay, so David's only started once in his past 7 matches. Why should the Titans keep him on the bench this weekend? Why is he so much more effective when he's, the highest paid forward in the game?
Yeah, obviously, he's got a significant contract there at the Titans. But I think what Justin Holbrook is thinking, from a tactical point of view, David playing the last 60 minutes rather than trying to play 80 minutes, it has worked at different times this season. There's no doubt about that. Now, there's been some criticism of David, but I think with regards to his, line-breaking ability, his try-scoring ability, his ability to open a game, I think it's 17 tries this season. So he's done his job. There's no doubt about that. It's good tactics by Holbrook. He's the head coach. He works with David every day, so it'll be a considered decision. So I think they'll use that again this week. They've named him in the number 16 jersey, but David will come on and they'll give him early footy, and he will be a handful for the Roosters' left edge defence.
On Saturday night, we're in for an absolute treat. The Panthers against the Rabbitohs. It's 2nd against 3rd. We got a little bit of a look into this match a couple of weeks ago. The Panthers got the Chockies there. So what do the Rabbitohs need to do well on Saturday night to ensure that they cause an upset?
Well, they started the game very well. They're up 12-0 or took a lead early. The biggest thing that I see from the Rabbitohs is their kicking game, long kicking game from Adam Reynolds, but their aggressive kick chase. So I want to show you some examples from last time they played. So this is Reynolds. Obviously, Rabbitohs have marched up the field out of yardage. He puts high kicks, and what he's trying to do is put the back three for the Penrith Panthers under pressure. Now, have a look at the aggressive first contact there by the Rabbitohs. You can see there's three in the tackle, but just as importantly, what they try and do, and you'll see this very often from the Bunnies, they'll lift up the attacking player and they try and run him back. And what they do is they give their forwards time to join the kick chase line, and then they're really aggressive on the next play. So there they are, holding Crichton up, lifting him back. Very aggressive kick sprint and kick chase mentality from the Rabbitohs. Another example, there's Edwards. Good aggressive first contact by Dane Gagai, and just have a look at the Bunnies go to work here now. And they go hunting the Panthers back three and back five. So expect them to do that early and put the Panthers under pressure.
Damian Cook, he's one of the great running threats for the Bunnies, but it's fair to say in the past couple of years, for the Bunnies to have overcome that prelim hurdle, he's had fairly quiet, I guess, final series. So is he still a number one threat for the Bunnies this week? Does he have to have one of the best games of his career?
Yeah, I think so. Damian Cook, he's one of my favourite players, obviously, having worked with Cookie. I think he can bring his experience to this final series. As you suggest, 3 preliminary finals. He's played a number of games for New South Wales and also Australia. Now, he's very experienced. But what you'll see again, I went back and had a look at this game. There was a lot of times where the markers for the Penrith Panthers were late to get back to position. So Damian Cook, he looks at visual cues. So anytime the markers aren't set early, he's going to take the line on. So I'd love to see this from Cookie coming out of yardage for the Bunnies. I think he can cause some problems through that middle third of the field. The other thing about Cookie's game, which he has improved, I think, over his career is his decision-making, his pass execution close to the line there. There you'll see there's a space for Mark Nichols to go into in between the forward defender and Hutchison there for the Roosters. Great pass execution and decision-making there from Cookie. I think he'll cause the Panthers some problems defending their line again on Saturday evening. But, what a matchup there between Coruscant and Damien Cook.
Okay, no Latrell Mitchell. Apparently that means no South Sydney. But one thing it does mean for sure is that Cody Walker has to own the left edge of the Bunnies' attack. We spoke about his magic a few weeks ago and he didn't live up to the hype in that match against the Panthers. Are you confident he can in this final on Saturday night to win or help the Bunnies win through to a prelim?
Yeah, Cody Walker needs to. I think one of their biggest weapons over the last 3 or 4 seasons has been their left-hand side edge attack. Now, you can prepare for it and you can preview it as an opposition coach during the week. It's a lot harder to stop. So I want to show you some examples. You've seen some similar ones during the year on game plan. But there's Cameron Murray, there's Reynolds. So Reynolds loves to get over to the left-hand side for the Bunnies and be that sort of, I suppose, early ball player. He gets the ball often from Cameron Murray. He'll dig all the way into the line. But what they're trying to do essentially is get the centre. It'll be Dane Gagai on Saturday night to lead inside the 2 in defender there for the Panthers. We think it will be Momorowski. So it creates a 2v1 situation for Cody. Now, Cody plays with great tempo out the back of shape. So I think if they're going to cause an upset against the Panthers, it'll come off the back of their left-hand side edge attack. You can see there's Reynolds again. This time he's not getting the ball off Murray, but Murray's a decoy runner, an option runner. But again, same process. There's Cody Walker at the back of shape. There's no Latrell Mitchell there, and Alex Johnson's been scoring tries for fun when he's been available for the Bunnies. So I think it'll be their go-to again. This time it's Cody off the back of Cook, passing to Gagai out the back of shape. Again, they had a little bit of joy there against the Panthers' right edge defence, and I think they'll go there again on Saturday evening. And Cody Walker, Damian Cook, and Adam Reynolds, those 3 players need to be at their best to cause an upset.
And in every one of those clips you just showed, there was no Latrell Mitchell featuring. So that is proof that the Bunnies can get it done without Latrell Mitchell. I have to put you on the spot here. Wayne Bennett will want every Bunny firing. But if Damian Cook or Cody Walker has to have the best month of their career, which player do you take and why?
I think Cody Walker is integral to what the South Sydney Rabbitohs do on both sides of the football. He's a fantastic communicator on the edges there defensively for the Bunnies, but he's the key. He's driven that machine, that attacking machine for the last couple of years. Obviously, Adam Reynolds has got an integral part to that, but for me, Cody Walker, he's the difference. When he plays at his best, which he does more often than not most weeks, then they're almost unstoppable on that left-hand side.
The final in week 1 of the finals, we've got the Eels against your Knights. Now, we don't want you to give away all the trade secrets for Newcastle about how they're going to upset Parramatta on the weekend, but from your perspective, what's the one thing the Knights have to nail to ensure they do cause an upset and move into week 2 of the finals?
I think it's their effort off the football. I think one of the reasons why the Knights finished 7th, 2 wins clear of 8th position, the Gold Coast Titans, was because they were gritty, they were resilient. and they were always in the fight. There's been a lot of criticism of the Knights' attack, but I think if you look at the resilience, the grittiness that they've shown, and they even had a 4-day turnaround this year, which is unheard of in the NRL, and they got a result. So I think their hard work over the last 10 weeks in particular has seen them win 7 games, most of those very close, Zach. So I think if they're to cause an upset against Parramatta Eels, it's off the back of the effort areas. So those areas that don't require skill or talent. And I want to show you some of those areas that I mean. So this is a kick chase or a kick sprint, very similar to the South Sydney Rabbitohs kick chase mentality. What they want to try and do is get the fullbacks in the back three. They want to try and lift them up. You can see there lifting Campbell up there, running him backwards to try and get on the front foot. So it makes it hard for the Gold Coast Titans in this example to get out of their end. So I think all the little things off the footy are key. This is another example. You'll see Kalen Ponga out the back here. He's often spoken about in glowing terms with his attack. The big area that he's improved in 2021 with the assistance of Eric Smith, who's a fantastic assistant coach here at the Newcastle Knights, is his line organisation and his effort off the ball. I call it Kelpie dog. Imagine that little dog running in the open field. Have a look at Kalen at the back here. Just in case keeps moving. And, there's a threat there for the right-hand side edge attack of the Gold Coast Titans, but he nullifies that and puts the ball over the dead. This also, I suppose, highlights why the Knights are in the semi-finals. Have a look at Jayden Brailey here. This is a very close game at Wagga Wagga earlier this year. Rapinoe makes a line break. He kicks the ball back through the middle. So you won't see Jayden Brailey pop up, but I want to show you here. He was the A defender. So he was close to the ruck. He keeps moving just in case. Rapinoe kicks the ball back in. This was game defining. It was all the way down to the wire there, and Wagga come up with a big play. So again, I want to highlight someone who's unheralded, and it's for the Knights, and it's Jones here. He's had a fantastic season for the Knights, playing off the bench mostly, but he was playing right centre this particular evening because of an injury to the Knights right-hand side centre. And there he is, just in case. Again, it was a close win. It was a 4-point victory against the Sharks. He kept moving just in case. So all these little effort areas are key. Lastly, I want to show you Brailey again. You'll see Jayden Brailey here. Again, he was a ruck forward on a kick sprint where Reece Walsh for the Warriors made a line break. Just have a look at the effort here. This was, a never say die attitude that the Knights have had this year. So to cause an upset against Parramatta, they're going to have to work really hard with these effort areas that I've highlighted here.
When it comes to inspirational plays from a skipper, none epitomise it more than that right there. Mitchell Pearce, he's got big game experience, more big game experience than any other player with Newcastle. He's got more, I guess, NRL experience than any other player. Does he have what it takes to lift the Knights a lot deeper than a lot of critics are expecting?
Yeah, he does. He's a player who's played in 2 grand finals, Zach, for the Roosters, albeit 2010 was a losing grand final, but he won a premiership in 2013. He's been heavily criticised for periods of his career, but I think, going back to a couple of years ago, 2017, I think it might have been, where he kicked a field goal to win the game on Anzac Day. So, Junior has got big game experience. He's a grand final winner. If the Knights are to progress, it's going to come down to his execution in attack and his organisation in attack, but his big match experience, including a couple of weeks ago, 14-all with less than a minute to go against the Titans. He booted the Knights into the final series there. I think, Mitchell Pearce's experience in key moments, again, will be integral if the Knights are going to cause an upset, this weekend.
You just mentioned there, back in 2017, I think he'd missed 17 or 18 field goals in his career, but this was arguably the biggest that he's ever kicked.
Yeah, you'll see, Pearce had almost a full house at the old Sydney Football Stadium. And it was a big, game. As you said, there was less than 2 minutes to go. Very similar to last week. But, Mitchell Pearce has seen success. He's seen some challenging times as well as a player. But, again, I wanted to highlight him because I think if the Knights would progress, then his experience in big games are going to be integral.
Hopefully, for your sake, for Adam O'Brien's sake, for all Knights supporters' sake, it doesn't come down to a field goal at the end. Apart from the Knights, can you see any those other teams, those underdogs, causing upsets in week 1 of the finals?
I think the beauty of this weekend's 4 fixtures, Zach, is that any team can win a game. Now, I don't just say that lightly because, you've seen Manly. Manly scored over 20 points against the Storm a couple of weeks ago, made a number of line breaks. I think they'll go to their left edge with regards to their attacking weapons in Trbojevic in particular. You look to the Titans game. Titans came back and almost beat Roosters after being behind by a significant margin earlier this year off the back of some offloads and some great attacking shape. South Sydney Rabbitohs, well, they led Penrith and were in that game a few weeks ago all the way through to the death. So, they've got big game players. And I'd like to think Newcastle can really give Parramatta Eels a challenge. Parramatta have been in the last couple of final series. It's the first time in 18 years that the Knights have made consecutive final series. So I'd love to see that, that gritty Knights put in a resilient performance. I know Adam O'Brien's prepared the team well. So great fixtures across the weekend.
Siebes, as always, thank you for joining me on the Game Plan. Best of luck to your Knights on the weekend.
Good on you, Zach. Cheers, mate.
And thank you for joining us for our latest episode of The Game Plan. We hope you love every second of finals footy this weekend.